There is a mistake that men, and especially men who are raised by single mothers like myself, tend to make in dating and in their relationships with women that really ruins the attraction and respect that these women have for them. I've been guilty of this, and maybe you've been guilty of this in the past, but we're going to cover what it is and what you can do to address it. By the way, if you're serious about improving your dating life as a young man, then I've just launched a dating mastery course that you can access using the link in the description. So this mistake is having no boundaries or having weak boundaries when it comes to women. Now, you see, it's not so much a mistake in terms of actions like do this, don't do that. It's more of a mindset. So and a character thing, if you're a man who lets women step all over him, they always get away with whatever they want, they're not going to respect you, and then they're not going to be attracted to you, they're not going to fuck you, and they're not going to stick around for very long. And you will be cheated on and left if you get into a relationship in the first place. So where does this actually come from, and why is it more prevalent in men raised by single mothers? Well, we all have an innate desire to be part, to belong, to please others in order to be accepted into a group, right? So some have it to a greater degree than others. The ones that have it a lot, which tends to be men raised fatherless, that's more common. They're classed as pushovers, people pleasers, right? They supplicate, they suck up to the group and to women in order to be liked, in order to receive the validation that they crave. And my theory is that in growing up, especially if you only had your mother around, she was the one source of validation, like you were seeking her approval. And if you had a mother who would lash out at you, maybe she would shout at you and tell you off whenever you stepped out of line, you're very worried then to not do something that can cause conflict, that can spark that reaction, because you're afraid of the consequences. And so this leads to a mindset of, okay, like if I ever say something that might cause a conflict or offend the girl or step on someone's toes, then I might lose them, and I might lose that validation and that love that is super important to me. And therefore I'm not going to do it. I'll just let it slide. I'll make a compromise just to keep the peace, just so that things can stay as they are, they can stay okay. But it's a fatal mistake, because women want you. So this applies, like I should make clear that this applies to your social interactions as well with other men, right? You're not going to respect a man who doesn't have boundaries, right? You won't trust him, you won't want to be friends with him. But it's particularly important in interactions with women, because if women feel that they don't respect you, then that breaks the foundation of everything that you can build with that woman. And women will 100% test and see where the line is, where your boundaries lie. And they're not doing this consciously even so much. They're just evolutionarily built to do that, because they want to test if you are the man that you say you are. Are you that strong, capable man who doesn't get phased, who can protect his boundaries, and who can therefore be reliable and her rock in times of need, right? That's what women unconsciously look for. They look for that strong partner. And so you being able to set boundaries is fundamental to providing that impression to her and to gaining her attraction and her loyalty. So how do you overcome this flaw, and how do you become someone who is actually keen to enforce his own boundaries? So I'm not interested in giving you some solution in terms of what to say, or if she says this, then act this way. We can talk a bit about that towards the end, but what I really think will help you, and it's helped me, is to have a mindset, a paradigm shift, and to change your identity. Because the root cause for why you're a people pleaser, pushover with women, and you're losing their respect is because you don't have enough self-respect. You don't respect yourself enough. And that might come from lacking the confidence that maybe having a strong, healthy father role model would have instilled in you. It can come from all sorts of sources. Maybe you're bullied in school, maybe you had some trauma, or maybe you never really had that positive reinforcement growing up that you're good at something, or that you're popular, or you never had a validation. So now you end up having a low view of yourself. That's the thing that we need to address. Because once you start respecting yourself, bro, you have a high self-esteem, you're confident, then you will naturally fire back at people who infringe on your boundaries. Why? Because you value yourself. You won't accept shit from women. You won't accept shit from other men in society, because you know that in your own eyes you're valuable. So how do you actually develop this self-esteem? Because you can't just like to a point you can fake it, but you really want to be authentic with it. You need to work on your self-improvement. You need to get everything right that we discuss on this channel. That means your body, right? How many times have I said, get in the gym if you haven't already? Work out, put on some muscle, lose some fat. Stick to that. Have the discipline to stick to something. If you've been managing to go to the gym 5-6 days a week or a few times a week consistently for a few months, a few years, you're going to respect yourself more naturally, just because you've had that confidence, that discipline to do something for yourself. You've put in the sweat, the pain, and of course you're going to have a higher view of yourself. Pick up a martial art, learn to fight. It's very important. As much as Western society chats shit about, no, it's all about making love, no war, and it's not important for someone to know how to fight because we have the police, we have protection, it's all civilized society, bro. We naturally treat men who are big, strong, and can fight better than those who can't. We eye someone up, right? As men, right? We will look at a guy and we think, that's a dangerous motherfucker. He just looks dangerous. He just looks mean. We're naturally not going to chat shit around him or insult him. And everyone around us is doing the same thing. Men, other men, women. So it's complete bullshit, the fact that it doesn't matter. Of course it does. So get yourself into a gym, pick up boxing, kickboxing. I myself do Muay Thai. Absolutely amazing. Just, again, another thing that you can add. You're working on your goals, you're becoming a better man, and you respect yourself more. Study, pick up a course. If you're finishing your degree, make sure you're getting the top grades. If you're in a career right now, get promoted faster. Get a side hustle, make more income, find new ways to bring in money, get your cash up. Meet the boys, make a brotherhood, connect with other men you respect. All of these things will make you more complex and improve your self-esteem, and you'll find yourself naturally protecting your own boundaries then, because who's some chick to come into your life and offend you and be mean to you and ruin your state, your vibration, when you're doing all this cool stuff in your own life? Like, who is she to do that? You'll naturally want to protect those boundaries. So let's go into some specifics. What are some ways that women might disrespect you? And you probably have already experienced some of this. I've experienced my fair share of it, and looking back, I wish I'd have acted differently. I've learned from those experiences. I now have stricter boundaries. But let's say one example might be your girl goes out and she's wearing a skimpy outfit and she's going out to the club with her girlfriends. Yeah. Everyone will tell you that that's completely fine. You shouldn't be so insecure. Like, you should trust your partner. She can go. She just wants to dance. She just wants to. I don't know what your opinions are, but my opinion is, you go to a club. Yeah, I know there's some girls who actually genuinely want to dance, but they also know that there are guys there who want to fuck. And most girls who go to the clubs also want to fuck. And so, and she will be very well aware of this. So she's making a conscious decision to put herself in that environment, in a skimpy outfit, and to mix in alcohol with a bunch of horny guys in the club, despite being in a relationship with you or dating you or whatever your situationship is. And so to me, that's a sign of disrespect. You can gaslight me, like, people will disagree, some women might hate me for saying this, but I'm not cool with it. And so if you're not cool with it either, and you tell your girl, look, I don't like the idea of you going to a club, especially dressed in a revealing outfit, I'm just not cool with it, I don't like it. And then see how she reacts. If she kicks up a fuss and she doesn't understand your point of view, then just say, look, these are my boundaries. I'm not telling you what you should and shouldn't do. You should never try and judge someone or constrain their actions, right? And don't tell your girl, okay, you can't go out of the house. Obviously, don't be an idiot. She's free to do what she wants. But you can tell her, look, I just don't like it. It's my personal preference. You're very entitled to have preferences. You hear about women saying, I want a guy who's 6 foot, 6 figures, 6-pack. I want him to have this and that and treat me like so and bring me flowers and shit. Bro, have some fucking respect for yourself. You can choose the girls you want to date. It's not just them who get to pick the guys that they date. So if you're not happy with your girl that you're dating, going out in a skimpy outfit and being grinded on by some random dude in the club at 3 a.m., then fucking say so. And you're very you have my full permission, you have my blessing to have that preference. If you don't want that girl in your life, then just don't. And so if she acts up, then you have to be willing to, and this is my next point, you have to be willing to walk away. Another example might be, and this is what I particularly hate, is if she embarrasses you in public. Like, she'll take a jab at you, she'll just say something, you know, let's say you're at dinner with friends and she'll say, oh, he's so scruffy, like he's just so lazy, like never like makes any effort around the house. Like, to me, that's a sign of disrespect, you know. I'm very much for, okay, once you're in private and you want to have a conversation with your partner, you have it. But embarrassing them in public is something I'll never do, and something that I expect the girl that I'm with to never do to me. And so I will tell her right there and then, that's not okay, or just say stop it, and then we can have a proper conversation once we're in private. So you have to be comfortable with just being blunt and calmly saying, look, I don't like the way you're acting. Don't be aggressive, don't start being rude or swearing at her, but just tell her flat out that you're not okay with it. And then see how she responds. And the final piece of the puzzle, which I was mentioning previously, is you need to be willing to walk away from any woman in your life. Because if there's no threat of a consequence of her doing something, then your word carries no weight, and she's not going to respect you. So if you tell a girl, stop going out dressed, stop going out naked, essentially, in a short miniskirt, but there's no follow-up, she'll just say, or what? Because you don't have a threat behind that. There's no consequence that she's aware of to her doing that. Yeah, it might make you a bit upset, but, you know, you'll get over it. You'll end up making a compromise, right? Because, you know, like being raised by a single mommy, you kind of, again, you want that validation, you don't want to cause a fuss. You need to be very firm and say, look, if you keep going out like this, I'm done with this relationship. Or you can say, yeah, sure, we can have sex, but you're never going to be my girlfriend, or I'm not going to be exclusive with you. And then she'll be like, what do you mean? I'm just going out. I'm just, you know, she'll start acting up all sorts of ways. But you have to stand your ground, hold your frame, and say, no, this is what's going to happen if you do this. That's how your mind should operate, and that's what you should be communicating to her. And you have to follow through, because if she keeps doing that, if she keeps going out, you know, naked to clubs, or if she keeps insulting you in public, or anything that you've told her that you don't tolerate, then bro, you need to be a man and follow through, even if it hurts, even if you really don't want to lose that girl. And trust, like, it can be very fucking difficult, right? Because you might be in love with this person, but your integrity, like your self-respect as a man, your pride matters more. Because if she's already aware of your boundaries and she's decided to consciously cross them again, she doesn't respect you enough, and her attraction is already going down. And so you are already fighting a losing battle. It's not a case of, okay, if I stay in the relationship, it's all going to be okay. It's not going to be okay. She's going to keep crossing the boundaries, have less and less respect for you, and the breakup's going to be worse in a few months or a few weeks down the line. You might end up finding out that she's been fucking some other guy all along, cheating on you, and then she'll leave. So you're better off keeping your integrity as a man, keeping your pride, rather, and actually leaving with your head held up high, than leaving on her terms down the line with much more suffering for yourself. So always be willing to walk away, no matter how difficult it is. Lastly, I just want to remind you about the dating course that you can check out. Use the link in the description. It's got a full intro. You can see what you can expect, the modules and the areas that we cover in there, if you check out the link. It's also going to give you lifetime access to the Single Mother Adonis community, which I'm creating for young men raised by single mothers or without good father figures in the home, who just want to develop themselves to become competent, attractive, have wealth, women, and just to max out their life despite their upbringing. So it's going to be a place where we're going to have calls with myself, and we're all going to share our experiences and grow together as a brotherhood. Because I feel like society's done a terrible job of catering to this segment of men who haven't had the best upbringing, and that hasn't really done anything for them. So this is my effort to do something and to help these young men. So with that being said, I'll see you in the next video.